Good afternoon and welcome to Dodgers territory, everybody. On this Monday, a brand new episode. We are your hosts. That is Clint Pasillas. You know him. You love him. I am Alanna Rizzo. Lots to talk about today.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious. We will talk about the series that was with the Giants, but really the only thing anybody cares about right now, Clint Pasillas, is the fact that your boy, my boy, everybody's boy, a unicorn, a man among boys, Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, it's an exciting day for Dodgers fans here, Dodger Nation, if you want to call it that. We're talking to ESPN's Alden Gonzalez about it. He was hot on the Ohtani case. But yeah, Alanna, it's showtime.
Showtime. I love that new front end. That is sick. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Okay, here's the thing that I'm a little bit hesitant. I said this before. I said I don't want this to be because everybody else is hurt. I don't want this to be because we feel like we need to rush him back because we are desperately in need of healthy arms that can get us through a ball game because our bullpen is unbelievably taxed. Yeah. Alden Gonzalez, we're going to talk to him about that. He wrote an article for ESPN about why now is the time. Again, I'm sure that they have discussed all of the things, right? But I just want to make sure that Shohei Ohtani is healthy and we're not pushing it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like he's healthy. When the Dodgers post a tweet like this, let's say we're starting Shohei tomorrow, or he's going to be the starting pitcher tomorrow, which is today against the San Diego Padres, which, Padres get to face the unicorn, as he is so aptly called. But the dude is ready, and I think they saw that. We talked about this last week after his most recent side session or live batting practice, simulated game.
Sim game.
Yeah, they were like, we have nothing else. Like, he has nothing else to prove, really. Mark Pryor was like, he was hitting his spots. The stuff was crisp. The breaking stuff was disgusting. And I know you're not the biggest fan of, you didn't want him even pitching before the All-Star break. And then they said, double birds to you. We're going to do it even a month earlier from there. But I really do like this idea. Shohei said it's time. I love what my buddy Blake Harris had said here. It's like right now this is arguably the best move because you're getting him you have complete control of him going out there pitching 1 inning or 2 innings to open a game. He gets to treat it like a starter, but he's still going to be in that lineup as your MVP leadoff man and all that. And like Blake said, even if he goes 1 to 2 innings over the next few weeks, it's still a good thing for him because he would be doing that anyways. He would be throwing to, it's low-level minor leaguers or whatever, but he would still be throwing. He would still be exerting the energy and also exerting that energy in the middle of the afternoon, ramping down and then having to ramp it back up for a ball game. So doing it here and having this, arguably the best opener in baseball, be able to give you 1, 2, maybe 3 innings as the weeks go along. It just feels to me like it's the best possible scenario to utilize Shohei and keep him happy because this was all his call.
Well, I'm sure it's a huge part of it, right? I think he is obviously the one kind of dictating the moves and stuff, although you do have to kind of protect athletes from themselves. But it is essentially another rehab stint, right? He's just doing it at the big league level in a big league game versus doing it at another sim game. Where obviously, you can't send him out on a rehab start because he's the DH. So that's just a very unique situation. And I would imagine they'd have to listen to Shohei in this time because he's the first one to ever go through this, I get Babe Ruth, but whatever. It's the first one in our time that Shohei Ohtani is doing this.
I mean, Babe, like he wasn't, after he became an outfielder, he wasn't really pitching, and he definitely wasn't much of a starter. Like, it was sprinkled in here and there over the last, 10 years?
Sure, but everybody likes to compare the two, so I feel like I have to throw the Babe in there.
That's fair.
Every time we talk about Shohei Ohtani. But the thing is, I'm okay with it, even if you get a couple of innings out of him. But the games, real live games, very different than sim games. Your adrenaline's going to be up, your heart rate's going to be up, all the things. Although Shohei does seem to have a pretty calm heart rate, it is going to be up though. So I think we should temper the expectations, look at it for what it is. He gives you 1 or 2 innings, but gets out of it healthy, and the thing is too, it's like, this is not like he's going to sit tomorrow just because he pitched today. I mean, he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow as the DH. So this is no longer, it's not like any other situation we've ever seen. I mean, this is a very unique guy, a very unique starter. And thank God he's coming back, I guess, as long as he is healthy enough to do so. I just want to, I just want to protect him. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've definitely plotted out all the potential concern points and whatever. They're not going to strain him. They're not going to stress him. Somebody was saying in the comments, like, what are we thinking? 2 innings and 30 pitches. I wouldn't be shocked if he just pitches the first inning. I've said it already a couple of times. There's a chance we could see almost a spring training type of outing here, where he pitches, strikes out the side, goes up in his first at bat, hits a leadoff homer, and then goes back out to the bullpen to get some more tosses in to keep building up.
He's essentially an opener tonight, right?
Yeah,
he's an opener, the best opener, Hall of Fame opener. But whatever,
best
we're gonna take it,
buy.
right? Like best opener, 700 million can buy. Here you have it, right now, and that's okay. Again, like, just please stay healthy. Please stay healthy. I like him back in there. Obviously, we need to. Well, we'll discuss the Dodgers starting rotation at length. Before we do that, though, we're going to take who's the second pitcher? That's a great question, Craig Osterberg.
Yeah, so they should have Matt Sauer fully. Matt Sauer should be fully available. I think they'll wait one more day on Justin Wrobleski. Things are lining up for most likely Ben Kasparius to get the ball tomorrow, and then Emmett Sheehan likely making his season debut on Wednesday.
Back on the mound on Wednesday, right? So,
so things
the
are.
Padres get Ohtani, and then they get Sheehan. Watch out, San Diego! Watch out! All right, much more to come here on Dodgers territory. We are going to welcome in Alden Gonzalez of ESPN, but first, a quick word from our guys at Foul Territory.
Kratz, real question for you. So I'm in Arena Club, and I opened up a slab pack. I pulled a Wyatt Langford auto rookie card. I got an immediate offer from Arena Club. I turned it down. It was in the mid 300s range. I've gotten a few offers since. Thoughts on Wyatt? Should I hold on?
I saw it. I didn't see it when you ripped the pack, but it looks so sick with everything around it and how it's spinning in your showroom. That John looked nice. But no, you shouldn't sell it. Maybe wait till he makes an all-star or two, and all of a sudden that 300 goes up, and you're going to get another instant offer right away on Arena Club.
That's right. Buy, sell, trade. Slab packs are there for you too, to rip a pack. And for me, I'm just leaving it in the showroom for now. I'm deciding what I'm going to do with it. But if I did want to sell it, then I can get myself another slab pack or buy a card that I want to buy. Get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/foul. Use code FOUL.
Alden Gonzalez joining us now, does a great job, of course, covering all 30 teams for ESPN. I know you're very busy, a lot going on. Alden, you had written an article for ESPN about perhaps the escalation of Ohtani back to the pitching mound. Why now? Why does it make sense?
I think mostly outside of their pitching injuries, which is a very real thing, I think more than anything else, it was a case of what the Dodgers and Ohtani specifically felt was diminishing returns with a simulated game. And I think it speaks to the uniqueness of his situation. So these simulated games were going on around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon before games. So he was throwing in these simulated games, and then he was doing maintenance programs for his right elbow and his left shoulder. He was basically cooling off of that, then having to ramp back up to DH. And that apparently took more of a toll on his body than it would have been had he been pitching in the same game that he hit. I know it doesn't feel like it makes a lot of sense, but for Shohei Ohtani, it does. And given that, one, the command was there. Like that 44 pitch outing that he had at Petco Park on Tuesday, like his stuff looked good. And two, the fact that he's got that 2A designation, which means that he counts as an extra pitcher, essentially means that, for example, for Monday night, whoever would have started that game on Monday can easily just pitch after him. So easier on his body, command is there. And look, he's only going to throw 1 or 2 innings. And this game against the Padres, as nuts as this might sound, is basically a continuation of his rehab. He's going to continue to build up. He's just going to do it in a major league game.
You know, I do wonder if this was also something kind of necessitated or sort of sped up by all of the injuries this starting rotation has dealt with. Because, I mean, you're missing Glasnow most of the season. You're missing Snell. We got like a weird back and forth update on Roki Sasaki. Do you think anything any of that kind of played a role in Shohei being like, just get me out there, I want to help this team in some way?
I'm sure from Shohei Ohtani's perspective, it had an influence, I can tell you, and I had just spoken to Andrew Friedman about this. days before he threw his last sim game. And the Dodgers were adamant from their perspective that they didn't want to rush this, regardless of how many pitchers were injured. They were going to just try to absorb this stretch and try to get through it until Blake Snell comes back, until Tyler Glasnow comes back. It seems like he could be relatively close. Emmett Sheehan's coming back relatively soon as well, because they felt like it was so important for his two-way future, for his chances of being an effective pitcher for years thereafter, not just in this one, that he built up enough endurance, that he strengthened the muscles around his right elbow. And in their mind, I mean, Mark Pryor even said this after he threw 44 pitches in his last sim game. They wanted to get him into the 60 to 70 pitch volume before throwing him into a game, even if he was only going to throw 2 to 3 innings. But one thing that they have shown throughout this process is they're going to listen to Shohei Ohtani. I think they feel like he is so attunedly aware of what his body requires and what he needs on a given day. And he's the only one who has ever done this, that there's a trust there. And if Shohei Ohtani ultimately told him, look, these sim games are really taxing on my body, I'd rather just do it in a major league game, I think they trust him to go out and do it responsibly. And I think that's why they ended up here today. I mean, look, your point about the injuries is well taken. They keep having to do these bullpen games. Their relievers lead the majors in innings. This is not sustainable. But I don't know that they wanted this to guide. I don't know that they wanted that to guide the Ohtani part of it. I think it was Shohei Ohtani sort of driving this himself.
Well, then it's certainly a tricky balance. You want to make sure he stays healthy, but you can also appreciate the player understanding his body so well. Obviously, he's a two-way player, right? We've discussed how much of a unicorn this guy is. He just hit career home run number 250. How do you think him getting back on the mound will affect his offense, if at all?
I think it'll affect his base running. I think that's the big thing. It had been a while since he had stolen a base, and Dave Roberts said that he didn't know if that was a sort of a direct correlation or just a coincidence, but there was talk about it going into this year. Look, he got to 50-50 last year, but he's not going to go through that much volume stealing bases. Stealing bases is a lot of wear and tear on an athlete's body, and he was going to be a lot more choosy about it. And I would suspect now that it's getting real, now that he's pitching in games, I think the base running component is going to drop off a little bit. It already has shown signs. In terms of the offensive profile, though, I mean, Shohei Ohtani's elevated himself to another level offensively beginning in 2023. He was beginning in 2022, I should say. He was a full-time pitcher at that point. I think he loves this. I think he loves the pitching and hitting simultaneously. I think there's a part of him that's just really juiced to do this again. The one thing that the Dodgers are mindful of, though, is the endurance part that I touched on earlier. Like, there's a certain level of endurance required. Maybe not now that he's throwing 1 to 2 innings, but when he starts getting into 3, 4, 5 innings, more like a traditional starting pitcher, the endurance thing is something I'm going to watch. And if you remember, when he was with the Angels during that 3-year stretch, he didn't take days off. He was in the lineup the day before, the day of, the day after, right? So the Dodgers want to do that with him now, but they're going to have to read and react. And I'm wondering how that's going to play out once he has more length in him as a pitcher.
You know, we've kind of already talked around this a good amount, but I want to ask it in this way. What would you say the expectations are for Shohei, and perhaps more importantly, the concerns are in starting this now as opposed to after the All-Star break?
My concern would be that the intensity of throwing in a simulated game is completely different from the intensity of throwing in a major league game, especially a major league game with Dodger Stadium packed against the Padres, your biggest rivals. That would be my concern, is that he amps up too much. Now, I raise that concern to people around Ohtani, and their rebuttal is he's 21 months removed from UCL repair. All right. That is a surgery that comes with a 12 to 16 month timeline. So he's had a lot of time. So I understand where that might be mitigated. In terms of the expectations, you know, during the 2020 season, the COVID shortened season in 2020, he struggled mightily as a pitcher. I think the unconventionality of that season played a big factor for him specifically. So I don't know that I would use that as a gauge. But you have that on one end of the spectrum. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have what he did from 2021 to 2023, when he was an annual Cy Young contender. And it seemed as if he got better every single year as a pitcher until his UCL finally gave out again. I think that it's closer to that realm, especially now that he is with the Dodgers pitching group. They have a history of making guys better, right? And I'm really intrigued to see how they make Shohei Ohtani better. If his last simulated game is any indication, and it might not be, it's a sim game against lower level minor leaguers, I think he's going to be really good. And I think he's going to be a major weapon if he can stay healthy. But this is a second UCL repair. So we'll see.
At the very least, he's going to strike fear in the opposition when they know that Shohei Ohtani is taking the ball. He just has that reputation, and obviously, it's good to get him back out there. I mean, it's good for baseball, and it's certainly good for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Alden, let me ask you this, though. This rotation, even with the return of Shohei Ohtani, is far from complete with the decimation of injuries that this team has. What more can you tell us about perhaps the return of Roki Sasaki, Blake Snell, and Tyler Glasnow?
The Roki Sasaki return is up in the air. He has not really made much progress in his rehab. So I don't know where that one's going to sit at the end of the year. I think Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow have made really positive steps. They've gotten off the mound. They felt good. And it looks like they're on track to come back. But I will say, though, that they still have to go through a normal progression. Like, this is almost spring training for them. And then you layer on top of that the fact that it's a shoulder injury. And with these shoulder injuries, they're very tricky. And you don't want to get too far. You don't want to speed up the process too much because you can be set back really quickly. But I would think that sometime in July, Tyler Glasnow is going to come back. And shortly thereafter, if things go well, Blake Snell will come back. But until then, I mean, the Dodgers have had the misfortune of all these pitching injuries occurring at a time when they're at the toughest point of their schedule. So they need more starts from Clayton Kershaw, like the one that he just gave them. They need Yamamoto to come back to being the guy that he was in April, not the guy that he's been lately. And they're going to need to continue to – they don't want to do this, but they have to. They're going to continue to have to throw out these bullpen games. And that is my biggest concern because I think Glasnow and Snell will be back. There's no reason right now to believe they won't, and they won't be effective. But what's the tax on these relievers accumulating the amount of workload that they have already? They've been leading the majors in innings for basically the entire year, and you obviously are going to ride these guys in October, right? So that is my concern right now. Somebody like a Ben Kasparius, a Jack Dreyer, like those guys have stepped up huge for this team. But is there going to be a tax on that later? That's where my head is at mostly.
Yeah, and you really hope some of the other guys, on the IL relievers can come back and be effective. Brusdar Gratterall eventually later on in the season, and if a Dustin May or Tony Gonsolin ends up in the bullpen, that really helps them out right now. But oh boy, are they paying a cost? They're paying a price right now, for sure. One last one. Obviously, we know you got a very, very busy day today, but the NL West was reshaped a little bit yesterday. Beyond the Ohtani news, hey, San Francisco Giants, they go out and acquire Rafael Devers. You were all over this on the Twitter machine. It's a stupid question, but I wanted to throw this out there for the people who maybe aren't as in tune with the team. Like, is this something the Dodgers could have pulled off? One, and two, how much does this help San Francisco and kind of reshape that NL West landscape?
Could the Dodgers have traded for Rafael Devers? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, look, they trade for everybody and they acquire everybody, so I guess why not? I guess they could play him at third, though Max Muncy has looked a lot better. First base and DH are taken right now. In terms of how it shapes the NL West, I think this is huge. There was so much intrigue around how Buster Posey was going to handle his first trade deadline, given how surprisingly good the Giants had been. And the one glaring need the Giants had, and the one thing that they needed if they were going to truly contend in the National League West, was they needed offense. Specifically, they needed a big bat in the middle of their lineup who could play first base or maybe DH. And for him to supplement that this time of year with a top 10 hitter in baseball, I mean, that is incredible. I mean, Robbie Ray and Logan Webb look like one of the best 1-2 punches in baseball in the rotation right now. Their bullpen has led the majors in ERA all year. Matt Chapman's going to come back. You pair him and Willy Adames, you would think is going to be better with Rafael Devers in the middle of that lineup and Jung-Hoo Lee maybe getting going again because he's very capable, that's scary. That is truly scary. And look, Rafael Devers is going to be paid a lot of money for 8 more years, and who knows how that contract is going to age. But I love this move because who cares? You're the San Francisco Giants. You are printing money. You could absorb whatever that looks like on the back end. And how often do we criticize Seattle Mariners ownership for not capitalizing on an opportunity with such a great starting rotation by adding the offense they need? Here are the Giants seeing an opportunity, seeing how competitive the National League West is going to be, not waiting until the trade deadline, making that move now because it's what they need. Did they give up a lot? Maybe. We'll see in a few years. But one thing we know for sure, Rafael Devers is an elite hitter. And the fact that they added him, I mean, first of all, it's so much fun. Like, I can't wait to see how the NL West plays out. I can't wait to see how AJ Preller of the Padres pivots here because he's not going to take that city down.
Yeah.
The Dodgers are going to do something, obviously. The Diamondbacks are fascinating in multiple regards because you don't know if they're going to sell or they're going to buy at the trade deadline. I just love the jolt that it gives what was already going to be a really fun division race.
Yeah, nobody is happier that Rafael Devers is out of the AL East than Garrett Cole of the New York Yankees, because Devers has absolutely been Cole's daddy. The San Francisco Giants and the Boston Red Sox will meet this weekend for a 3-game set. Alden Gonzalez of ESPN, love the information. Appreciate your time. I know you have a busy day. Thank you so much for joining Clint and I on Dodgers Territory. Be well.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, Alden Gonzalez will be right back after a word from our friends at Foul Territory.
It might be that time. If you're looking for a new car, there's one place to go that is going to take care of you, and it's CarGurus.
Yeah, looking for a car should be fun, not exhausting. Everywhere else, it's exhausting. You're dodging people. You're trying to just, can I look at this car? CarGurus, you type in your search, you find the color that you want, it narrows it down for you, and all of a sudden you're like, this has been an exciting experience, and you got a great deal.
With over 4 million listings, CarGurus has more car listings than any other major online automotive marketplace in the US, so you can find the best deal. It's no wonder SimilarWeb estimated traffic data shows CarGurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site. Buy or sell your next car today with CarGurus at CarGurus.com. Go to CarGurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CarGurus.com. CarGurus.com.
All right, want to introduce you guys, not necessarily to a pup this time, but an opportunity to see the Los Angeles Dodgers take on, wait for it, the Houston Astros on the 4th of July at, of course, Dodger Stadium. 4 tickets. Now, these are 4 field level tickets, guys, basically right behind the on-deck circle. Field level tickets and free parking in Lot I at Dodger Stadium. So 4 tickets and parking. Phenomenal tickets donated by Guidry's Guardian Foundation supporter and massive Dodger fan, Anita Olson. Every single cent of this auction goes to dogs in need with the foundation that I have. You just need to go to 32auctions.com/HOU for Houston, LAD. So 32auctions.com/HOU, LAD to create a free account. And then you bid. You only pay if you have the winning bid. The auction ends in about 3 days. It ends on 1 a.m., at 1 a.m. rather, on Monday the 20th, or Thursday, whatever the 20th is, 3 days from now. 3 days from now, the 20th. So get your bids in. The higher the bid, the better it is for the dogs, and the seats and the parking are awesome. So I appreciate that very much for letting me talk about that. All right, Clint. So here we go again. We're facing the Dodgers, but it's a very different looking, or facing the Padres rather, sorry. A very different looking Dodgers rotation anyway. Could be Wednesday with Sheehan, obviously Shohei tonight.
Yeah, the Padres, they got to feel real bad right now after watching the 2 teams above them make these massive moves. One is the Dodgers welcoming back Ohtani to the rotation, a dude they already signed to do this at some point in time. And then, of course, with the Devers move to San Francisco, we already said. But yeah, this is an interesting setup. You got Cease coming off a great outing against the Dodgers last week, Ohtani opening tonight, and then Kasperius potentially making his first real start for the team tomorrow, most likely, and then Emmett Sheehan welcoming him back. It seems like that's lined up for Wednesday, and then Yamamoto trying to put a little bit of a umpire-aided stinker behind him on Thursday. They could Dodgers,
you were a real big fan of Beck behind the plate, weren't you? Huge.
Adam Beck could fuck all the way off. That him somehow CB Buckner was worse, but we don't need to talk too much about that. But this is a series that I think everybody is very much watching, and something that Alden mentioned a little bit there. It's like AJ Preller. If somehow the Padres lose like 3 or 4, they lose this series, his hand's going to be shaking. He's going to be making those calls. You know how much that dude loves making some trades, making some moves, acquisitions and all that. And the Padres, they expect to be contenders in this National League West. They sit right now 3 games back. This is a big swing series for the NL West, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's huge. And then you imagine that Sauer and Robleski are going to be used as bulk guys probably on Thursday, depending upon how Yamamoto does. We need Yamamoto, as Alden said, to get back to where he was in April, not where he's been recently. Listen, everyone's kind of shifting around just because of all the injuries and everything that's going on. So I do believe there will be a time, maybe in July or August, where we have everybody that we were so excited about coming into the season. We'll have all of those guys healthy and ready to go. And we can kind of have no RJM 0021. I am not picking the Padres to sweep the Padres.
That.
And if you're gonna talk shit, at least spell my name right. All right. All right, Clint, what's coming up on All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas?
You know what? I'm feeling froggy enough. I'm feeling excited enough to probably most likely fire off a post-game tonight. We are post-gaming tomorrow, but it's Ohtani Day. This is a holiday. It's a reason to be excited. So just subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell to make sure that I am going live. It's the best way to be notified. Of course, subscribe here to us on Dodgers territory. Hit that notification bell as well. But yeah, a lot of great content. I got a video dropping very soon from my unofficial co-host over there, Kevin's Kitchen. He's coming live from the kitchen with some thoughts about the series and talking about how good Tanner Scott has been, how good Andy Pages has been, and that's something you and I probably need to do later this week, maybe like a mid-June.
So I put something. Absolutely. And let's just, for really quick, because we have a second here, let's talk about the fact that Andy Pages has been phenomenal. I actually put something in our Slack chat earlier today that Daniel Starkland at D Starkland on X tweeted Andy Pages the last season total, right? 13 home runs, 46 ribbies in 113 games. Andy Pages this season already, it's June 16th, so basically June 15th, 13 home runs. So he's already matched his home run total of all of last year. 46 ribbies. He's matched the stakes already for all of last year in just 68 games. Last year, it took him 113 games. So I apologize. May the praise be as much as loud as the disrespect, because I wasn't sure he was going to get caught up offensively, and he really has. And he's also done a really nice job defensively, too, in the outfield for the Dodgers. Andy Pages.
He completely somehow reshaped his game over the first week or two, got out of bad habits that he sort of created for himself in the offseason by kind of thinking a little bit too much about going opposite field, and also thinking a little bit too much about being in that 9-hole and trying to be a role player. No, go out there and hit some dingers, bro. Have some fun playing the game. And luckily, Teoscar Hernandez helped him out a little bit with that. Teo also off the schneid a little bit. Homers in, I believe, 3 straight games. Big stuff for Teoscar Hernandez. Big stuff for the Dodgers. Guys, go vote for them, by the way. How fun would it be to have Teo and Andy Pages as your starting NL outfielders in the All-Star game?
Yeah, not for nothing. Will Smith better be the starting catcher. Dave Roberts is the manager for the All-Star game, and Will Smith has been unbelievable as far as the backstop in the National League. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us here at Dodgers Territory. For Clint Pasillas, myself, Alanna, Rizzo, for everybody involved in the show, we really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for watching. Again, as Clint mentioned, we are back tomorrow night, Game 2, Dodgers-Padres for postgame. Bring a friend, smash the subscribe button, like all the things. We'll see you tomorrow night. Go Dodgers.
Happy Shohei Day. Bye.